AITA for telling my sister she's not allowed to bring her homemade food to Thanksgiving because her cooking is ruining the meal. I need to start this by saying that I love my sister. I really do. She's one of those people who has a heart of gold and would go to the ends of the earth for you if you needed her. She's the one who remembers everyone's birthdays, the first to volunteer to babysit when someone needs help, and the person who organizes family game nights just to bring everyone together. She's that person, and I truly appreciate her for it. But she cannot cook, and when I say she can't cook, I don't mean she's just bad at it or that she occasionally burns something. No, my sister approaches cooking like she's on one of those experimental chef reality shows, but instead of creating avant-garde masterpieces, she produces disasters every single time. I wish I were exaggerating, but the woman has somehow turned simple, foolproof dishes into what I can only describe as inedible science experiments. This has been going on for years. Thanksgiving, Christmas, potlucks, you name it. My sister has brought something bizarre and borderline offensive to the table. And every single time, we all do our best to smile, say something non-committal like, "Wow, this is so creative," and quietly push her dish to the far end of the table, hoping it will be forgotten. But it never is. She always notices when people don't eat her food, and she gets this wounded look like we've just insulted her entire existence. Then she says something like, "Oh, maybe I overdid the seasoning," or "I guess not everyone is into fusion cooking," and we all awkwardly reassure her that it's fine. It's not fine. Let me give you a couple of examples so you understand what I'm dealing with. Last Thanksgiving, my sister showed up with her special recipe stuffing. Now, I love stuffing. In fact, it's one of the dishes I look forward to the most every year. There's something magical about its warmth and savory goodness, the way it perfectly complements turkey and cranberry sauce, and how it just feels like the essence of Thanksgiving on a plate. Stuffing, in my book, is sacred. It doesn't need innovation, it's already perfect. But my sister, she decided stuffing needed a modern twist, as she called it. I'll never forget the moment she proudly walked in, holding her dish like it was a trophy, and announced that her stuffing was not your grandma's stuffing, if only it had been. Her special recipe included cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, and God help us all raisins in stuffing. It was as if someone had dared her to turn a beloved savory side dish into a confused, spice rack-abusing dessert. The first warning sign came when she uncovered the dish, and a faint, oddly sweet aroma wafted through the air. Stuffing should smell rich and hearty, with the comforting fragrance of herbs like sage and thyme. Instead, hers smelled like someone had dumped a loaf of gingerbread into a bucket of stale bread cubes. The texture was another disaster entirely. Stuffing is supposed to be moist but not soggy, with just the right balance of softness and crispiness from the toasted top layer. My sister's version, dry, like Sahara Desert dry. I'm not sure what went wrong. Maybe she didn't use enough broth, or maybe the raisins somehow absorbed all the moisture and refused to give it back. Either way, taking a bite felt like chewing on a piece of cinnamon-flavored cardboard. It was so bad that I had to take a sip of water just to keep from choking. And the flavor, oh, the flavor. The spices were overwhelming, clashing horribly with the few remnants of traditional stuffing seasoning she'd attempted to include. It tasted more like an overly ambitious gingerbread recipe gone wrong than anything remotely resembling stuffing. And the raisins were just the cherry on top of this culinary nightmare, providing random bursts of sickly sweetness that only made the whole experience worse. Nobody ate it, not even my dad, who prides himself on being the family vacuum cleaner, finishing whatever food gets left behind. He's the kind of person who can find something to appreciate in any dish, no matter how questionable, but even he couldn't do it. I saw him take one small bite, pause for a moment with a strained expression, and then quietly push the plate aside. The dish sat there, untouched, a sad little heap of brown and raisins that seemed to grow more depressing with every passing minute. Meanwhile, my mom's classic stuffing, perfectly seasoned, moist, and comforting, was disappearing faster than you could say seconds. My sister didn't seem to notice the glaring disparity in popularity, but the rest of us were exchanging knowing glances across the table. The year before that was her infamous green bean casserole. Now, green bean casserole is another Thanksgiving classic, simple, reliable, and almost impossible to mess up. At least, That's what I thought. But leave it to my sister to turn a foolproof dish into a culinary horror story. She decided to make it healthier, because apparently green beans weren't healthy enough on their own. Instead of using the traditional cream of mushroom soup as a base, she swapped it out for coconut milk. And instead of crispy fried onions on top, she used almond flour as some kind of alternative crumb topping. The result? A lumpy, chewy concoction that bore no resemblance to green bean casserole as we know it. The texture was the first red flag. It wasn't creamy or smooth, it was thick, gluey, and somehow chewy. I didn't even know a vegetable casserole could be chewy until I encountered this monstrosity. And the flavor? It was like eating green beans dipped in sweetened condensed milk. The coconut milk added an odd sweetness that clashed horribly with the savory nature of the dish, while the almond flour topping just turned into a soggy, gritty mess. Every bite was a confusing combination of too sweet and not quite right. I remember looking around the table and seeing everyone subtly grimacing as they tried to swallow their first and only bites. People were discreetly scraping it into napkins or pretending their plates were already full just to avoid having to take any. Once again, nobody touched it. It became the dish of shame, sitting there on the table as a silent testament to my sister's well-intentioned goal, and nobody eats it. The pattern is as predictable as it is exhausting, and yet she somehow never picks up on the fact that her contributions aren't exactly appreciated. So, I decided to do something bold. I called my sister and gently suggested that this year, she bring something other than food. I thought I was being kind about it. I told her how much I appreciate her effort every year and how I know she puts so much thought into her dishes, but that this year, I wanted to streamline things. I suggested she bring wine, soda, or even flowers, things that are always appreciated and can't possibly go wrong. She did not take it well. The moment I brought it up, her tone shifted. She asked me, "Are you saying you don't want me to cook?" And I could already hear the hurt in her voice. I tried to explain that it wasn't about her, it was about keeping things simple and cohesive. I even told her how much work I was putting into hosting and how I just wanted to take some of the pressure off her. But she wasn't having it. She said I was being controlling and shutting her out of the family gathering. Then she hit me with, "Thanksgiving is about everyone contributing, not you deciding what's acceptable." I was stunned. I didn't know how to respond. I told her that everyone appreciates her effort, but that I thought this would be easier for everyone and still let her be part of the celebration. She doubled down, saying I was making her feel like she wasn't good enough and that I was ruining Thanksgiving. Then came the kicker. "Well, I'm bringing my green bean casserole whether you like it or not." At that point, I just gave up. I said, "Okay, do whatever you want," and hung up. Now, word has gotten out to the rest of the family. Apparently, my sister vented to my mom, who is firmly on her side. My mom called me and said I was being too rigid and that Thanksgiving isn't about the food, it's about family. She told me I should just let my sister bring whatever she wants and not make such a big deal out of it. A couple of my cousins chimed in too, saying things like, "It's the thought that counts, and you're being kind of harsh." But here's the thing, I'm the one hosting. I'm the one putting all this time, effort, and money into making a beautiful meal. Is it really so wrong to want the food to be good? To want people to actually enjoy what's on the table? I don't think it's fair that I have to cater to my sister's feelings at the expense of the entire meal. At this point, I don't know what to do. Do I just let her bring the casserole and resign myself to another year of awkwardly avoiding it? Do I accidentally forget to put it out on the table? Or do I stand my ground and risk blowing up the whole holiday? I feel like no matter what I do, someone's going to be upset. Am I really the bad guy here? I just want people to leave my Thanksgiving dinner happy, full, and not traumatized by coconut milk-covered green beans. Update 1. Alright, well, things have escalated fast. First off, thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. It was both comforting and eye-opening to read all of your advice. I tried to compromise, I really did, but this situation has taken on a life of its own, and Thanksgiving is still weeks away. After the last conversation with my sister, where she declared she'd be bringing her green bean casserole whether I liked it or not, I tried to take a step back and let things settle. I figured she'd cool down and, Worst case scenario, show up with her casserole as usual, and we'd all just deal with it. But things didn't settle. In fact, they've gotten worse, and now I feel like I'm starring in a reality show called Thanksgiving, the host's nightmare. It started a few days after that initial call. My sister was being unusually quiet in our family group chat, which normally lights up this time of year with everyone sharing plans and coordinating who's bringing what. I chalked it up to her being upset with me and thought, fine, maybe some space will do us both good. But then I started hearing things through the grapevine. First, my mom called me. She wasn't outright scolding me, but she was definitely team sister. She started saying things like, "You're overthinking all of this, and it's just one dish, let it go." I stayed calm and explained again that I didn't want to offend my sister. But I also didn't want her to feel pressured to experiment in the kitchen when it hasn't worked out in the past. That's when my mom dropped a bombshell. "Oh, she's been working hard on something special. You're going to love it. She's calling it her Thanksgiving surprise." Thanksgiving surprise, alarm bells went off in my head. This was the same woman who once put diced mango in mashed potatoes because she thought savory and sweet was trending. I pressed for more details, but my mom clammed up, saying she didn't want to ruin the surprise. She told me I was being too rigid and that I needed to let people contribute in their own way. I was about to drop it when she accidentally let something slip. My sister's recent grocery haul included canned oysters and edible glitter. I think my soul left my body for a moment. That night, I called my husband and vented for a solid 20 minutes about canned oysters and glitter. He tried to be supportive, but even he was clearly at a loss for how to respond. His suggestion, just make extra mashed potatoes, not exactly a solution, but I appreciated the effort. Then things got worse. A few days later, my cousin sent me a screenshot from the family group chat, the real family group chat. You know, the one I wasn't invited to, because why would the person hosting Thanksgiving need to be part of the conversation about Thanksgiving, right? Anyway, the screenshot revealed exactly what I'd feared. My sister had gone full steam ahead with her plans for the Thanksgiving trio experience. In fact, she'd been using the chat to rally support, hyping up her creations as though she was a contestant on Top Chef. She kept saying this trio was her way of elevating Thanksgiving and introducing the family to new culinary horizons. I don't even know where she gets this language from. She sounds like she's auditioning for a Food Network special instead of contributing to a family potluck. Apparently, she's been putting a lot of effort into making the trio the main event. According to her, it's not just about the dishes. It's about the experience. She's designing little menu cards to describe each dish and creating custom place settings that will reflect the artistry of the meal. I can't even type that without cringing. Menu cards. For Thanksgiving, this isn't a Michelin-starred restaurant. It's my dining room. At this point, I don't know whether to laugh, cry, or start preemptively drinking, probably all three. From what I've gathered, and I wish I didn't know as much as I do, her Thanksgiving trio experience includes the following. Oyster surprise. This dish immediately set off alarm bells. The main ingredient, canned oysters. Let me just say, I have nothing against oysters in the right context, but canned oysters. For Thanksgiving, she apparently plans to combine them with crushed saltine crackers, which already sounds like a questionable pairing, and then top it off with some kind of secret glaze. My cousin thinks it might involve a fruit puree of some sort, but nobody's sure because she keeps referring to it as the surprise. Let me tell you, there's nothing more terrifying than a dish that openly calls itself a surprise. I'm already imagining something slimy, salty, and weirdly sweet, like a dessert and an appetizer got into a fight and this was the messy result. My cousin even joked that it might be served cold, which if true means it's going to sit there looking like the saddest plate of mystery seafood anyone's ever seen. Glittered sweet potatoes. I don't even know where to begin with this one. She's taken a classic Thanksgiving staple sweet potato casserole and turned it into some kind of bizarre craft project. The base is the usual sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top, but she's added edible glitter to make it whimsical and Instagram-worthy. I can't even imagine what this will look like, but I'm picturing something that belongs at a kid's unicorn-themed birthday party, not a Thanksgiving table. The glitter alone is giving me anxiety. Who wants to eat glitter? I know it's technically edible, but that doesn't make it food. I keep thinking about how it's going to stick to everything: utensils, plates, maybe even people's teeth. And can you imagine trying to explain why there's glitter in the gravy because it somehow migrated across the table? It's going to be chaos. Fusion pumpkin tartlets. The final piece of her trio is what she's calling fusion pumpkin tartlets. At first, I thought this sounded semi-normal. I mean, pumpkin tartlets, that's not too out there. But then I read the description. She's making them with a savory twist, which apparently involves goat cheese and chili flakes. Goat cheese and pumpkin, together, and then adding chili flakes on top. I don't even know what she's trying to accomplish here. Is it supposed to be sweet, savory, spicy? All of the above. The worst part is that they're mini tartlets, which means they're going to look deceptively cute, and some poor, unsuspecting relative is going to pop one into their mouth thinking it's a normal dessert, only to be hit with an explosion of conflicting flavors. Let me remind you, she is planning to serve these dishes at my Thanksgiving dinner. A dinner I've been planning meticulously for weeks, with a cohesive menu featuring traditional favorites like turkey, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce. I'm trying to create a warm, inviting experience for my family, and now I'm competing with glittered sweet potatoes. As if that wasn't enough, she's decided these dishes need their own table. That's right, she's bringing her own setup, complete with a tablecloth, decorations, and the aforementioned menu cards. She's essentially staging a pop-up restaurant in my dining room, and I'm supposed to just smile and roll with it. At this point, the family is split. Half of them think I'm overreacting and should just let her do her thing. My mom has been calling me regularly to tell me I'm being too controlling and that I need to loosen up. She even said, "Who cares if it's a little different? Thanksgiving is about family, not the food." The other half of the family is quietly texting me on the side, asking things like, is she really bringing glittered sweet potatoes, and should I eat before I come? I'm stuck in the middle of a family food war. If I try to shut this down, I'm the bad guy who's ruining Thanksgiving and making my sister feel unwelcome. But if I let it happen, my carefully planned dinner turns into a chaotic mashup of traditional dishes and experimental atrocities. And let's be real, nobody's coming back for seconds of canned oysters and glitter. The worst part is, Thanksgiving is still weeks away, and I feel like I'm already losing control of the narrative. My sister has turned this into a whole thing, complete with her own fan club, and I'm the villain in her story. I've tried to compromise, but at this point, I feel like no matter what I do, someone's going to be upset. The only question is whether it'll be me or the entire extended family. Right now, my options feel limited. Do I let her bring her trio and hope for the best? Do I preemptively order pizza as a backup? Do I try to accidentally misplace her dishes in the chaos of the kitchen? I'm seriously considering setting up a second table in another room and designating it the experimental zone, just to keep her creations away from the main spread. All I know is, this is shaping up to be the most stressful Thanksgiving I've ever hosted. And the funniest part, my sister thinks she's helping. Update 2. Alright, so Thanksgiving is now just a little over 2 weeks away, and I honestly don't know whether to laugh, cry, or just hand over my hosting apron and wave a white flag. I thought the Thanksgiving trio experience would be the height of the madness: 3 experimental dishes that no one asked for, complete with their own table and menu cards. But no. My sister has officially turned this into her event, and things have gone completely off the rails. Since my last update, my sister has apparently decided that this year's Thanksgiving is going to be her culinary coming out party. According to the screenshots my cousin keeps sending me, bless her, my sister has been hyping up the family group chat about how this will be a Thanksgiving to remember. She's calling it her Thanksgiving debut and has even referred to herself as the Thanksgiving head chef. In my house, for the dinner I'm hosting. The audacity would be hilarious if it weren't happening to me. The new development, she's now planning a culinary surprise centerpiece to serve as the main attraction. That's right, on top of her 3 already bizarre side dishes, she's making some kind of statement dish to be the star of the meal. I have no idea what this centerpiece is, but based on her track record, I can only assume it will involve ingredients that have no business being combined. Glittered sweet potatoes and coconut milk casseroles are bad enough, but a main dish. I'm picturing something horrifying, like a turkey stuffed with seafood or some kind of savory jelly mold. The thought alone is giving me stress hives. And it doesn't stop there. My mom has now fully taken my sister's side. She texted me privately to suggest that I step back this year and let my sister shine. She thinks my sister is just so excited about her contributions and that we should let her have her moment. Apparently, my mom is convinced that if we humor her this one time, she get it out of her system and stop experimenting on the family in the future. But let's be real, this isn't going to be a one-time thing. If we let her hijack Thanksgiving now, she'd be pulling this stunt at every holiday until the end of time. What really got me, though, was when my mom hinted so casually that maybe I should focus on decorations and drinks instead of the food. Decorations and drinks, for the Thanksgiving dinner I'm hosting. It's clear what's happening here. My mom is trying to gently hand the reins to my sister without actually saying it. She thinks this is a compromise. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here wondering why the person with a proven track record of turning classic dishes into disasters is the one being handed the metaphorical chef's hat. At this point, I feel completely stuck. If I push back, I'm the villain who's ruining my sister's big moment and turning Thanksgiving into a family feud. But if I let her take over, I'm essentially giving up on the nice, cohesive dinner I've been planning for weeks and subjecting everyone to her culinary experiments. And let's be honest, there's no way she's going to stick to a cohesive theme. My carefully planned menu of turkey, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce is going to be gate-crashed by glittery side dishes and whatever monstrosity she has planned as a centerpiece. And it's not just my mom. Other family members are starting to chime in, too. A few people in the group chat are openly cheering her on, saying how fun and creative her ideas sound. One of my aunts even said she's looking forward to trying something new, easy for her to say, since she's not the one hosting. On the flip side, I'm still getting side texts from the more reasonable family members who are quietly horrified. My cousin sent me a message that just said, "I heard glitter turkey, please tell me this isn't real." I have no idea if she's joking or if glitter is actually part of the centerpiece, but honestly, nothing would surprise me at this point. The worst part is that Thanksgiving is still 2 weeks away, and the drama just keeps escalating. I tried talking to my husband about it, but he's in full don't rock the boat mode. His suggestion: maybe we just let her do her thing and focus on making sure the other food is really good. I know he's trying to keep the peace, but the thought of my sister's glitter-covered sweet potatoes sitting next to my perfectly roasted turkey is making me physically ill. At this point, I don't even know what to do. Do I let her bring her Thanksgiving debut to life and just hope for the best? Do I confront her and risk turning the entire holiday into a family showdown? Or do I preemptively sabotage her efforts by accidentally forgetting to set out her dishes? The last option is looking more tempting by the day, but I know it's only going to make things worse in the long run. The funniest part, my sister probably thinks she's doing everyone a favor. She's convinced that her artistic contributions are going to elevate Thanksgiving to some kind of high-class culinary event. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just praying she doesn't serve us anything with glitter, canned oysters, or chili flake pumpkin tarts. So here I am, stuck in the middle of what's shaping up to be the most chaotic Thanksgiving ever. I wanted a nice, traditional dinner where everyone could relax and enjoy themselves. Instead, I'm hosting what feels like a cross between a cooking competition and a family intervention. Thanksgiving hasn't even happened yet, and I'm already exhausted.